Pride and Prejudice is a novel by British writer Jane Austen, first published in 1813. The history addresses the way in which the character Elizabeth Bennet deal with problems relating to education, culture, morals, and marriage in the aristocratic society of the year 19th century in English. Still, the history takes place in the 19th century. It is a fascinating, even modern readers. Currently, the book is believed to have about 2.3 million copies around the world.
The story takes place in rural English during the early 19th century, telling the story of Elizabeth Bennet, a beautiful young woman, exclusively white, a strong and avant-garde personality. In a time when women only had the role of mother and wife, Elizabeth lives a romance with Mr. Darcy, a rich young man who at first refused to admit the feelings he had for her, knowing that the young woman, as one of Amber original, the relationship between the two is therefore guided by pride, personal, and anger, a mix of completely different feelings.
The 2005 adaptation of the novel won over audiences, as director Joe Wright and the actors Matthew McConaughey and Keira Knightley. Actress Emma Thompson rewrote the screenplay for Pride and Prejudice, despite being uncredited. At the end for the credits, there is a special thanks to her.
First, Bingley has two sisters. Although Caroline really has more focus for her passion for Mr. Darcy, Bingley arrives in the country also with her older sister Louise and her husband, and along with Caroline, she criticizes Elizabeth and her family. 2. In addition to Gardner's Elizabeth's older uncles. In addition to their London uncles, the Bennet maintain close relation with the Phillips, who live in the same county and appear more in the book than the Gardners. Mr. Phillips has a temperament similar to that of Mr. Bennet. 3. More time in the Biggles house. In the book, Jane and Elizabeth spend more time in the Netfield Park, due to the illness of the first one, so Elizabeth has more contact with Mr. Darcy, and the relationship between them suffers important influences in the stay. 5. Other dances take place. Many other dances take place in addition to the two that are present in the film. 6. Weekend's lies are known. After Mrs. leaves Netfield Park, all the lies Weekends tell Elizabeth has spread all over the county, and everyone stands by this side, despising Mr. Darcy. 7. Mr. and Miss Collins. Elizabeth does not go alone to visit Mr. and Miss Collins, go with Charlotte's father and the sisters. 8. The marriage proposal. That epic scene for the move that takes place outdoors in the rain, and the book takes place in the living room of and Mr. House Collins. 9. Mr. Ranion Darcy and Elizabeth. The Ranion also happen differently in the book. They meet outside the house, and Elizabeth and Darcy walk for a while. After that, Mr. Bingley and the Darcy will visit Elizabeth and her uncles, and they find each other between lunches in the diner for which before Lizzie receives Jane's letter. Then, late Catherine. Darcy does not go after Lizzie in the middle of the night, but in the afternoon, and the discussion between them takes place during a walk. Second marriage proposal. In the book, it happens during an afternoon walk that Elizabeth and the Darcy begins to take Miss Darcy for everything they did for Lydia. The end. The end of the book is more detailed and present a little more at the routine of couple of they are married. But few people how that the film has alternative, and that is very beautiful and accent too.
The wife of Nobel Pride and Prejudice Jane Austen was born on December 16, 1775 in Steventon, in the county of Hampshire, England. Jane was the seventh child of 8 children. She's been the second child of Reverend George Austen, a local Anglican priest, with his wife Cassandra. The writer's family belonged to the agrarian nobility. In 1806, due to the death of her father and subsequent economic situation, the family moved to Southampton, then in 1809 to Shelton, near Winchester, the city where Jane died at age 41, supposedly from Addison's disease.